This is one of those times where I start questioning myself and I ask, should I even be making garden videos like this? Because I'm not sure I even know what I'm doing. What's growing on, gardeners? Last spring, I showed you a new way that I was planting sweet potatoes in my yard, where I created a special mix specifically designed to maximize their production. On today's video, we are going to find out if that was a success. Then, I'm going to compare that method to this method, which is a completely free way of growing sweet potatoes. Every single sweet potato vine in here was a volunteer. I never planted them, and they got no fertilizer or irrigation all summer long.
If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and check out my Amazon store and Spreadshop links in the video description for everything I use in my garden and awesome custom apparel and gear.
Today is October 27th, and it is a gloomy, cold, windy day here on the southeastern coast of North Carolina. And that is the perfect day to harvest these sweet potatoes, because this is going to work up a bit of a sweat. The sweet potatoes that you see in these pots right here, these are 25-gallon grow bags. I created a special mix specifically designed to maximize their production and to minimize the growth of the vines. Sweet potatoes are actually not a potato. They are a root of a vine in the morning glory family. So when you eat a sweet potato, you are actually eating a morning glory root. And they grow very differently than a traditional potato, which is a nightshade, and it is in the same family as tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant. One of the common mistakes that gardeners make when they grow sweet potatoes is they feed them very heavily with fertilizers like you would a potato or a tomato or a pepper. That actually will work against you when you are growing sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are very sensitive to nitrogen. So if you give them a lot of nitrogen, you give them rich compost, organic matter, lots and lots of mulch, water-soluble fertilizer, that causes them to grow incredibly gorgeous, beautiful, vibrant, vigorous, deep green vines. And you'll say to yourself, wow, these are the most beautiful sweet potato vines I've ever seen. And then you'll dig them up in October or November, and you'll find these little puny roots. You may not find any tuberous roots at all in there. You might just find spiderweb roots going all over the place. And you'll say, what happened to my harvest? Well, you were overfeeding them. You were creating vines, not potatoes. If you've been making this mistake for years, don't feel bad. I grew sweet potatoes out in my raised bed garden, which my raised beds are full of compost with rich, deep, dark, loamy soil, beautiful stuff, and I would get really mediocre production. That's when I learned the secret to growing sweet potatoes is to actually grow them in fairly poor soil that is fast draining and low in organic matter. So I put this theory to the test. Earlier in the year, I took these big 25-gallon grow bags that drain really well and wash out quickly, and I filled them with a mixture of peat moss and play sand, very low in organic matter. I gave them very little water-soluble fertilizer throughout the year, and I amended them heavily with an all-purpose organic fertilizer and lots of bone meal, so it would be rich in phosphorus and calcium. So I tried to nitrogen starve them and grow them in a sandy soil that would wash out heavily every single time it rains. If you want to see exactly how to do that, I will link to the video above and down in the video description that will show you how to do it, because now is the big day where we get to see if it actually worked according to plan. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some pruning snips and I'm going to remove all of these vines and clean up the area. Now I have 3 different varieties of sweet potatoes growing in these grow bags: Stokes Purple, Murasaki, and Okinawan, which is my favorite variety of sweet potatoes, but they are a notoriously poor yielder and they are extremely expensive at grocery stores. So if I can find a way to increase the yields of a sweet potato like this, it will be a total game changer. Now I placed down a tarp because I'm going to dump all of these grow bags, because that will make it easy to not only harvest the sweet potatoes and clean up more easily, but I will also be be able to save all of this soil and repurpose it and use it to grow something else in the grow bags later. So I strongly recommend when harvesting sweet potatoes in containers, you do this method. So I'm going to dump these and we will see what kind of harvest we have. And here are all of the sweet potatoes I harvested. Here are the Stokes Purple, the Murasaki, and the Okinawan sweet potatoes. And I have to say, this is the best haul of Okinawan sweet potatoes that I've ever had in terms of potatoes that are actually really nice looking and perfectly usable. So there clearly is something to this method. I had one heck of a time harvesting these sweet potatoes. The root masses inside these grow bags were enormous. I have a huge pile of old roots behind me that I'm going to have to compost and get rid of. So, like I said, clearly there is something to this method. If you have never had success growing sweet potatoes before, please go down to the video description and try this method. It really does seem to work very well. And then I also scooped up the old potting soil and I put it back in these 3 grow bags. Now, the one tip I'm going to give you is make sure that you try and reuse the same grow bags year after year if you're growing sweet potatoes in them. And that is because sweet potatoes leave a ton of debris behind. The insides and sides and backs of the bags were coated with old roots, and there is just no way that you're going to be able to get all of the old sweet potato roots out of this mix. They're just everywhere. And most winters are not cold enough to completely kill all of those old sweet potato roots, so they will likely re-sprout in here year after year. So for that reason, I recommend you reuse the same bags. If you rotate your sweet potatoes through all of your grow bags or your containers, you're going to have little sweet potato shoots coming up in all of your grow bags and containers. So for that reason, I recommend you basically quarantine your sweet potatoes. The same thing holds true for growing sweet potatoes in ground. The sweet potato bed I'm going to show you, they're volunteers. I haven't grown any sweet potatoes in there for I think 2 years now, and they just keep coming up year after year. So now let's go over to that free sweet potato bed and we'll see what kind of free harvest we get out of it. The first thing I'm going to do is again cut back all of the vines and remove them so I can have a clean bed, and then I can start pulling and harvesting. So as I said, unless you live in a climate that is so cold, it can freeze your soil so deeply that it destroys 100% of all of the sweet potato roots left behind completely. You will have sweet potatoes re-sprouting every single spring and summer in locations that you plant them. And that is exactly what happened to me right here. I had new red fire, red leaf lettuce, and collard greens growing in this raised bed right here from late fall all the way throughout the winter. And I was very much enjoying the cool season harvest out of this bed. But come April, all of the sweet potatoes started re-sprouting themselves, even though I haven't planted any sweet potatoes in this bed for almost 2 seasons. There's just leftover root matter that keeps coming back year after year. So after I ripped out the collards and the leaf lettuces when they were done and went to seed, I decided to just leave this bed and let the sweet potatoes grow on their own. They got no fertilizer, no irrigation. I never watered them. I never did anything. All they were doing was growing in this soil. So everything that comes out of here is going to be a completely free harvest. So I'm going to pool them, I'll lay them out, and we'll see what kind of harvest I got out of this bed for 0 effort and completely free. It's times like these where I genuinely ask myself, should I even be making gardening videos like these? Because I feel like at times I don't know what I'm doing. I had no idea things would turn out this way before I started this video. Look at all of the sweet potatoes that I pulled out of that bed behind me. A bed I did nothing with. I didn't plant any of these. I just let the volunteers come up and do their own thing. No irrigation, no fertilizer. And I think this is a bigger harvest than out of all 3 of those grow bags. It's at least really close. And what is very interesting about it is it didn't have all of those stringy roots going all over the place. These were pretty much just clean sweet potato roots that are beautiful, almost perfect. There's some real monsters in here too. And what is really cool is, or interesting nonetheless, these are all Stokes Purple sweet potatoes except for one Okinawan that I was able to dig out of there. Now in that bed I had also planted Murasaki, Stokes Purple, and Okinawan sweet potatoes over the years. So it's very interesting that the Stokes Purple was, I guess, the most vigorous one and crowded all the other ones out. I'm not entirely sure. But what this does really show me, I think beyond a shadow of a doubt, is sweet potatoes thrive on neglect. And in many ways, the more love you give them, the worse your harvest will be. So I'm going to scoop these up and we'll see my total harvest between that bed that I did nothing with and those 3 little containers. Okay, well here is my haul of sweet potatoes, and there is quite a lot. And that is why I love gardening so much. No matter how long you've been doing it, you always learn new things. We have all of the Okinawan sweet potatoes on the left, we have all of the Murasaki sweet potatoes on the right, and we have just a massive haul of Stokes Purple sweet potatoes in the center. There has to be 40 to 50 pounds of sweet potatoes here, maybe more. This is one of the best looking hauls I have ever gotten. I want to see exactly how much all of these sweet potatoes weigh, so I'm going to get on my scale, and I am at exactly 149 pounds, and holding this, I am at exactly, wow, 190 pounds. So that means that this is exactly 41 pounds of sweet potatoes. Not too shabby. And now the sweet potatoes have been moved to my office where they will cure for the next 10 to 14 days. Curing your sweet potatoes is a critical step that should not be skipped. When you cure your sweet potatoes, it will do 2 things. It will heal over any of the damaged skin that was blemished or scratched when you were harvesting your sweet potatoes, and it will also help increase their sugar content so they will taste better. And the end result will be sweet potatoes that will store for a much longer period of time. When you do this correctly, they should store all winter long and into the spring. The process is very simple. All you have to do is create a warm and humid environment, and I do this using a plastic tub with a lid, a seedling heat mat, and a heat mat thermostat, so I can keep the temperature in the mid to upper 80s at all times, and that will cure your sweet potatoes in 10 to 14 days. I will place a link both above and down in the video description to a detailed video where I show you exactly how to do this. I will also place links down in the video description to the seedling heat mat, the heat mat thermostat, and any other tools you may need to help warm cure your sweet potatoes. So again, my key takeaway when it comes to growing sweet potatoes is they thrive on neglect. Don't give them a ton of organic matter. Don't give them a lot of nitrogen. Don't give them water-soluble fertilizers. Largely plant them and walk away. They will do the work for you. That is how you get the best harvests. So everybody, I sure hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and please ring that notification bell so you're notified when I release more videos like these. If you're curious about any of the things that I featured in this video, like the 25-gallon grow bags and the various fertilizers that I did use to help them along, I will place direct links to all of them down in the video description. For everything else I use in my garden in real life, they are all linked in my Amazon storefront in the video description. While you're down there, you can check out my spread shop for custom merch if you want to support the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video.
Hey, buddy. What's wrong? What do you want? You want to come inside? Oh, I see. I have your breakfast up here. All right, you gotta hold on, buddy. I have to wipe your paws. Come on, buddy. Your paws are absolutely filthy from running around in the wet grass. Look at that. That's Dale's dirty paws. Okay, buddy. Hold on. I still have to put your food down. I have never seen anybody so excited for food in all my life. Is it that good? Wait. Okay. Boy, oh boy, this boy. He sure has it good. He loves his food.